I became a tither because I was afraid. We would hear about the blessings of God, and so, in reality, it was a bargain. I would return the tithe for God to bless me and not punish me. I was always an evangelical. I never went to any other religion. And I just kept being a tither. I came to the Universal Church. I stayed there for a while because I didn't convert. I only convinced myself. And I kept being a tither. Some things got better, but then I left. When I left, I continued being a tither because I still had that belief that if I was a tither, things could get bad, but not so bad. At the time, I lived with my mother. I was single, and we would live together, but we had many struggles along those years. Some of them, I believe a lot of people go through that. It's the fact that we were lacking. We had very few options for food. We had food on the plate every day, but it's not what we wanted to eat. It's what we could eat. There were times that we had no light. We spent time in the dark, without gas. Sometimes we would warm up the food in the sun. And it would revolt me because I worked a lot. There was no limits for me. In my workplace, there were times that we would start at 2 a.m. in the morning and go until the next day working. And I said, my goodness, I work so much. I want to achieve so much and I can't. In 2012, my mother had a health problem. She had a stroke. And we found out that it was then an aneurysm. She also had an aneurysm. And I felt blamed. I felt blamed for not giving her a good life. I blamed myself because our situation would not get better. We lived in a borrowed flat. We wouldn't pay any rent. But there was still a lot of struggle. When that happened, my mental health went downhill. I would take medication to sleep, to wake up, to live. And I spent years in this struggle. And then the biggest problem came, the economical crisis in my life. I left the capital to go and work. The first year was wonderful, but in the second year, the economical crisis that affected not only Brazil, but the whole world. This was in 2015, 2016. And my contract, I had a contract with a company, and they were not paying me. I spent 6 months without being paid. So the situation that was already bad became worse. I became aggressive. I had a boyfriend, which today is my husband, and we would fight a lot. So apart from the medication, I had a back problem. I would wear orthopedical vest. I would take morphine. And I began to go to the hospital. Instead of taking morphine, I would take morphine directly to my body. And that situation became worse. One day, him that didn't believe in anything, he said, no, we need a religion. And that woke me up. I said, wow, he's an atheist, because he was an atheist. And he said we needed a religion. That was a slap in my face. I said, my goodness, are we really that bad? But I said, no, I'm not going to any other church that is not evangelical. And he said, we're going to your mother's church. And he used to speak bad about the church. So this is how we came to the church. I was destroyed. My relationship was destroyed. Our finances were destroyed. It was a chaos, mine and his. And God began to work. I was free from medication, from the orthopedical vest, and God began to work. I was able to come back to the capital with a good contract, but now I was being paid and things were fixing themselves. God did a great miracle. I stopped being a tither for obligation and fear because I was afraid. I thought God was a bad God that would punish me. And I began to be a tither because I prioritized God. I had a life with God. And things changed. Jobs began to appear. My business that was not doing well, it was restored. Today I employ people. We are conquering in such a way that we don't only work here in our area, but we work in other states too. And we can only be grateful to God for this, because humanly speaking, I would not have conditions. So we see God's direct action in our lives. We have a car, a brand new car that we saw, we bought it. We have our own apartment. We have our businesses. We have our sustenance. We can travel when we want. And that person that once had to warm up the food with candles, today I can eat at the restaurant when I want. Not like once a year as I used to do before. I would squeeze myself so I could go to a restaurant once a year. But today I can do that in the week that I want, the day that I want. I don't have to count coins to buy this or that, or wait for someone to buy me or give me clothes to wear those used clothes, because I had no condition to go to the shop. Today I have the good, the best, and I know that it comes from my Father. Just as he says there in Psalms that he is my shepherd and I shall not want. Today that is a reality in my life. He is my shepherd. He takes care of me in all areas and I lack nothing. Today I have peace that I wanted so much. I see my work being recognized. And I have a blessed marriage, a completely blessed life due to my faithfulness to God, the faithfulness that I have towards him and that he has towards me. It's my Father. He takes care of me. The Father takes care of the child that has this relationship, this intimacy with him.